Welcome back to the channel, guys. Today we're looking at the first digital 1S whoop. It's the Happy Model Mobula6 HDZero edition. I'm Jeff with Titan FPV. Let's dive in. First order of business, guys, if you're not already subscribed, stop what you're doing. Click that subscription button, the notification bell, so you'll be notified when I upload all new content. Now back to the video. This is not the first HDZero whoop offered as a bind and fly. Happy Model also does have a Mobula6, but it requires 2S voltage to power the HDZero VTX. This is the new Whoop Lite VTX from HDZero. It only requires 1S and goes on up to 3S, unlike the original that is a 2 to 6S version. Let's check out the specs and then we'll dive in. We're running these Happy Model 0802 19,000 kV motors. It's got the Happy Model all-in-one board. It's rated for 5 amp ESCs. It's got a built-in Express LRS 2.4 gigahertz receiver. As I said, for the video transmitter, we're running the HDZero Whoop Lite VTX minus the heatsink plate on the top and bottom. It's running a linear antenna, the new HDZero Nano Cam with this tiny lens. This camera does do 4:3 aspect ratio, just like the HDZero Micro V2 camera. We're running these Gem Fan 31mm props. These are 1mm motor shafts. The motors are soldered directly to the board. Let's see what else we get in the box. As you see, this is branded the HDZero Mobula6 from Happy Model. Looks like we're going to get some Happy Model and some Express LRS stickers. HDZero DiviMask stickers. We're getting a screwdriver. There's an adapter to flash the Whoop Lite VTX, a spare set of these Gem Fan 31mm props, some extra screws, and a screwdriver. And one more of these canopies. There are not any batteries included with this whoop like there were on the original Mobula6 and the Express LRS edition. Okay, let's dive into the configurator real quick and see how this one's set up. So in the bottom corner, you can see it's running Betaflight 4.3. We're going to hop into the ports tab. As you see, it looks like TBS Smart Audio is set up on UART number 1. UART 2 is set up to MSP, so the HDZero VTX is connected to that one. Let's hop into the configuration tab. Alright, looks like it does have the new gyro, so the PID loop is running a little bit slower. That's fine. For the craft name, looks like we've got HDZero Mobula6. Looks like the arm angle is set to 180 degrees, so that's good. Air mode is on, so if you're flying outside, that's good. If you're flying indoors, you probably want to disable that or put it on a switch. Board orientation is normal. Looks like they have everything set up for the buzzer, except for there's not an external buzzer. So the ESC D-shot beacon is not set up. That may be a problem if you want to find your craft. So that might be something you want to enable. Let's check out power and battery. Looks like the minimum voltage is set to 3.1 and the warning voltage I believe is 3.2. May want to raise those up. You may get brownouts if the HDZero VTX drops below 3 volts. I did notice that. 4.4 for the maximum voltage is good if you're going to be running lithium high volt batteries. In the failsafe tab, looks like failsafe is set to drop. That's what we want. If we go over to the PIDs tab, we do see that it's running custom PIDs. These work well for me. I'd probably leave these alone. It also has custom filtering set up. It does have RPM filtering enabled by default. It was not running Blue Jay. I believe it's just running BL Heli, the version that's compatible. So probably running 24 kilohertz. If you wanted to increase this to 96 kilohertz by flashing Blue Jay, you could do so. Looks like it's running actual rates at 500. This is going to be my first experience using actual rates. We'll see how this flies. Filters were working fine. As I stated earlier, I would leave that alone. When we look at the receivers tab, you see it is running Express LRS SPI receiver. I did have to change my channel order from TAER to AETR for my iFlight Commando 8. If you're running a Tango 2, you can leave the channel order to TAER. We jump over to the modes tab. I see it's got ARM set up on aux 1, angle mode is set up on aux 2. You will have to change these accordingly just depending on how you have your switches set up. Flip over after crash is set up to aux 4. And as I stated earlier, it looks like a buzzer is not set up. That's something I definitely recommend adding. When we jump over to the motors tab, you will see it's running props out or motors reversed. Bidirectional D-Shot is enabled, as I stated earlier, for RPM filtering. We're running D-Shot 300, and it has 12 motor poles for the 0802 motors. Let's take a look at the OSD tab. You can rearrange this however you'd like. We got craft names set up, link quality, RSI DBM, battery voltage. I would just change these as you like based on your preferences. And finally, we're going to hop over to the VTX tab. As I stated earlier, this one is running Smart Audio. You don't have to run Smart Audio to change the channels with the HDZero VTX, but looks like Happy Model's got that set up for you guys. It's set to raceband 1, channel 1 by default, so that's good to keep out of Wi-Fi interference. All right, let's get a dry weight. So looks like we're coming in at 23.8 grams. In comparison, I have the original Mobula6, 19.5 grams. And the Express LRS Mobula6 coming in at 19 grams. So it's just a bit heavier. Let's get it with the HDZero Nitro Nectar 250 1S. Coming in at 30.2 grams. These Tattoo 1S 300s, if you haven't tried these out already, I would definitely recommend these. 32.1 grams. In comparison, the original, 27.7. The Express LRS, 27.4. Once again, the original with the Nitro Nectar 250, 26 grams. And the Express LRS coming in at the lightest at 25.4 grams, 25.5 grams. While these all are similar, there are a few differences between these. The first being that the first two Mobulas are analog only. This is the only digital Mobula6. This one has an older Crazy Bee board. It's going to be a little bit heavier. It has a 25 milliwatt VTX along with FR Sky protocol. I believe you can also get this one with Spectrum as well as Fly Sky. Then you have the Express LRS edition. This comes with a 200 milliwatt VTX. This one comes with Express LRS 900 megahertz or the 2.4 version. This is the 2.4 version with an onboard SPI receiver. Some other things to note, this is the original race edition. So this is running 0802, 25,000 kV motors. This one also comes with an 0802 19,000 kV motor. And the Express LRS edition is running these 0702 26,000 kV motors. Now the newer one has the EX, the Unibel motors, 19,000 kV 0802s. So a little bit different setup there for each one, and they all fly slightly differently. If you've watched my video, I'll post a link up here in the upper right hand corner. I do have a how-to for Blue Jay on both of these previous models, and I was able to improve the flight time pretty dramatically on those. If you want to run 96 kilohertz, you can get squeeze a little bit more flight time out of that. The latest version did feel really locked in with Happy Model's custom tune. I did fly it on 250 hertz with Express LRS at 100 milliwatts. I feel like that's a good balance between range and response for me. The only thing that I really noticed about this one that kind of suffers is the flight time. This one is the heaviest of the bunch. Even though it's running these bi-blade on 19,000 kV 0802s, I was getting about a minute and a half on these Newbie Drone Nitro Nectar 250s, and then about 2 minutes on these Tattoo 300s. Now this is about the best battery you're going to get besides the Nitro Nectars or the We Bleed FPV lipos. So if you haven't checked these out, I'll post a link for these in the video description. I do recommend these. As Nick Burns mentioned, these are a tight fit. So I don't really know how I would recommend these with this existing connector. I don't know if they offer, you can't get that in there. I don't know if they offer these with a battery cable, but I just got them with this T-style plug on the end. It is a tight fit, but you do not want to run this with worn lipos because you're going to get even worse time there. I would recommend more than likely upgrading the ESC firmware. I may make a tutorial video on that. But other things to note, you're going to get good range on both of these models. They're both running Express LRS. The original one, I believe they have a V2 of this one now that has a newer board with a different gyro. This has FR Sky built-in SPI receiver, and the range is going to suffer dramatically on that one. You are going to get better video, obviously, out of the HDZero edition, the latest one. But I did get decent results here with this Express LRS edition. I do prefer the 19,000 or 25,000 kV motors over the 07, 02, 26,000 kV. I believe these are for a much lighter build. I think Angry Don FPV came up with the design for these motors, and he recommends, I believe, like a 16 gram whoop. So being as this one is about 19.5 grams, you're probably going to get a lot better performance on a much lighter craft. So there are 3 flavors. Which one fits the bill? That's up to you. Do you run HDZero? Are you thinking about running HDZero? If you do, the choice is obvious. You want to go with the digital HDZero version. If you don't, I would definitely go with the Express LRS edition and consider swapping out some of these 0802 25,000 or 19,000 kV motors. For the HDZero version, I did notice that the smart audio is hooked up, it is wired up, but even in beta flight, when I got into the OSD tab, I had it set to 200 milliwatts, but it was showing that it was still at 25 milliwatts. But based on the performance, I do believe it is running 200 milliwatts. You could potentially desolder the smart audio pad and just use the stick commands with HDZero. That's generally what I do. I don't really see a need for me. I'm not a racer to run smart audio. They are using this piece of wire for the Express LRS antenna versus the ceramic antenna on the Express LRS edition. I didn't notice a decrease in signal quality. Actually, it was pretty good. Ran this at 100 milliwatt dynamic. I didn't have any fail-safe issues there with that. So flying in the house, you're not going to have any range issues or penetration issues with the control link or the video signal. But if you do plan to go out a little bit further, you're not really going to be able to go out far based on just the LiPo. Like I said, a total of about 2 minutes isn't going to get you far out. You're going to have to go there and back. You're not going to be able to fit like a larger battery. I probably wouldn't recommend it anyway without cutting this frame. This frame is pretty durable. I believe it's the same one as the original Mobula6. And then they do offer it in green and blue for the Express LRS edition. So what do you guys think? Are you excited about digital coming down to the 65mm class? I know I am. Where we've come from the original double stack HDZero 500mW board to now the 200mW Whoop Lite VTX, along with the Freestyle 1W VTX. So things are changing very quickly, especially in this HD realm. Those are my thoughts. Leave your comments down below. Give this video a thumbs up. If you're not already subscribed, please do so. And we'll catch you in the next one.